Hi, welcome to Into the Studio, where two guys who have no idea how music works critiques you. So hey, my name's Matt,
I am Nylon.
and this is Into the Studio. Today we are talking about Nat Puff, also known as Left at London.
So let's just introduce Nat Puff. She also is known as Left at London. It's you may know her from like the big Vine star like history she has, but we're not gonna focus on Vine. That's dead for a reason.
Yes. So basically Nat started at a very young age making music, like about 5th grade, to just like express herself and, create whatever pops out of her brain. Her music in general covers a wide variety of topics such as like mental health, substance abuse, queerness, sometimes transness. And Nat, for context, is a lesbian, non-binary trans woman. She uses she, her pronouns. And I use they, them pronouns in case anyone noticed.
I don't think we ever introduced our pronouns.
My pronouns are they, them.
They, he for me.
So basically throughout Nat's life, she struggled with neurodivergency and like her share of like mental illnesses, so she put that into her songs.
And you may also know that from like impressions or like music covers, stuff like that. She attributes her autism for the reason she's so good at impressions and stuff like that. We have a quote from her. I'm used to mimicking others in order to seem neurotypical, and I've gotten really adept at observing things like speech patterns.
Yes.
Like she's also really good at like impressions in general.
She's very funny. I like her.
Well, you're her friend. You have to like her.
Well, I like her as a content creator too.
Anyway, Nat wrote and released Tiapfyh. Tiapf. I asked what it meant and I didn't get an answer.
You'll see this in the interview, but she basically just said however you pronounce it, you pronounce it.
Yeah,
so
it's free
I'm
for
gonna
all.
go with Tiapf.
Yep.
So that
She wrote it while she was in her art residency. She was in artist residency for the City of Shoreline Public Art Program, and the album was released June 3rd of this year, 2021.
It's also her first debut studio album, which is great. So Left at London, the project originally started as like a whole band. And even though that fell apart, Nat still kept the name Left at London, which, fun fact, the name Left at London comes from an experience where she misread the sign of a local bar called the Loft at Tandem, and she began going under that name.
And this is around where she started posting on Vine in 2014. And then while still in high school, 2014, 2015, she released 3 demo EPs, which were Youth Group Computer, 2 Rowdy for Denny's, and Give Peace a Break.
Yes.
Well, actually 4. Give Peace a Break. Oh, I can't read. 2 Rowdy at Denny's / Give Peace a Break, and We'll Write Songs for Money. They received very limited releases, and then they were eventually re-released on Bandcamp on February 5th, 2021.
Yeah. So let's dive into some of the songs on the album. Get into that.
Well, let me pull up my notes. I took special notes.
Well, I want to talk about Pills and Good Advice because I love that song. It's a very long song, and it's an opener for a reason. It's very, how do I put this? Emotionally impactful, at least to me. It's 10 minutes long, as I said, and it really gives you the feel of how the album's gonna start out, like how it's just how you're gonna feel as the album continues. Nat stated in the interview that we'll show later that she wanted to make it a 10-minute long song, like that was completely intentional. So
I believe that one's also made up of several other half-started projects that she didn't know what to do with. Like if you create stuff, if you're an artist or a creator in any way, you'll create like a million and one start a million and one things and then never finish them, never think about them. And she found a way to kind of recycle and like reuse those stuff and like this 10-minute like masterpiece.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in Pills of Good Advice, and you should listen to the song. You should listen to the whole album, but like, so it opens with the lyrics: "On my first day out, my familiar town felt the same as in my dreams, crying in my sleep when the sun came down, thinking I am cured, it seems, but I don't know my name at all."
And then it goes, but what else is new? So this comes from like her getting out of a psychiatric help hospital along those lines, right? I am cured, it seems, but I don't know me at all. What else is new? So it seems like nothing really happened. Nothing came of it. It was a waste of time, which
Yeah, the American mental health system is trash.
no, it's actually not. It is. It is.
It is.
And it's only emphasized in the lyric. You could try to help. Care is imprecise. All that I have left is pills and good advice.
Yeah.
I love it when songs say their title. That's
Title drop. But yeah, going back to like just like psychiatric care and like specifically pills and good advice. Like psychiatric care, that's basically, for those of y'all who are tuning in from not America, well, I mean, it might be the same by you, but specifically America, the psychiatric care trope is that you're just kind of drugged up and you're told, you'll be okay, it's fine, don't think about all, like, just not helpful stuff.
yeah, pretty much.
Going back to the American psychiatric system, with, like, again, pills and good advice, the trope is that they never actually fix the underlying problem, it's just doing the symptoms, and you're just kind of, like, going about with pills and good advice.
So, like, say you have depression. They treat the fact that you're tired all the time by giving you, like, a stimulant or, like, giving you, like, an exercise routine or, like, making you do a daily schedule, but you're still depressed. They just got rid of, like, you being tired all the time. Right. And something I want to talk about the lyrics in this one, right? There's, like, a long list of, like, I need to steal something, I need to feel something, I need to dream something, I need to be something, I got better, I used to be better, but I could never be them again. I feel like this is, like, the need to revert back to old habits to feel something or to put yourself back in a position where you are not feel something, but, like, be more of yourself, in quotes, right? But in the sense it goes, but I could never be them again, in referring to, like, I couldn't be a thief again, or I couldn't be a dreamer again, or, like, I'm using, like, the steal and feel and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you can't go back, and you could never go back and be them again because who you were wasn't necessarily healthy or a good person. So you can't go back to your old habits, even if they were helping you cope.
Relatable. So yeah, I mean, yeah, no, like just in general, pills and good advice. Like that's how it's basically a punch to the face and being like, this album, this is how you're gonna feel. Like you're gonna feel some stuff. And I cannot emphasize enough how much I love this song. And like we'll touch on some other songs in the album too, but like
But Pills and Good Advice is, again, a 10-minute song, so I do have a lot to say. Me, my notes, and I'll read another lyric out. It's, but every time I close my eyes, you're looking quite like my mirror. I'm plagiarizing every line, stuttering soliloquies. Who am I again? Who are you again? Which, I wasn't quite sure if this is in reference to her being autistic, because a lot of autistic people will mirror neurotypical folks to fit in a sense, for safety. And she mentions that again, like in the quote we have directly from her previous interview. I'm wondering if this person who she was in a relationship with, she was mirroring them to the point where she could no longer distinguish between the two of them. Later in that, it's like every time I wake up smiling, I feel like I'm mocking you, because maybe the person she's with isn't also in a healthy space, but when she wakes up feeling good and she's supposed to be mirroring them, and then it feels like a mockery because they aren't doing good. So her smiling, if it makes any sense. I'm not sure what to do with that, because it's like autism and mirroring is like the one thing I'm familiar with.
Well, yeah, we're both autistic.
You speak about it more.
We're both autistic. I am in a process in my life where I am actively realizing how much I mask around other people and how much I mimic other people's patterns to like fit into society and all that jazz. So I definitely can empathize if this is what the lyric is stating. This is our speculation because I'm
just
not
gonna
in
say,
Nat's conscience.
We're autistic, so we're going to assume it's about autism.
At least that's what it speaks to me is like when because I've been in relationships where I subconsciously pick up the traits of the other person, and then like it can go as far as like when they're feeling bad, then I fall into a depression as well. So like I can empathize with like whole mirroring in relationships and like mirroring just in general.
I feel like even
weird.
like we're not dating, but we're roommates. Half the time we do the same stuff.
No, yeah, like even with
So,
friends,
like-
like especially because we're roommates and we're in like a literal same building.
Yeah. Such a
Like
small
it's just
space.
kind of bounce off each other in neurodivergency.
Pretty much. But there's more. Again, 10 minutes of it. 10 minutes more.
10 minutes.
Another little lyric for us to talk about, courtesy of me and
Wow.
Matt. Start to climb, and then I get a little higher. I'm a coward. It don't matter what I do. From I can't do it anymore to I can't do it. I can't do it. Told myself I want to die. How am I supposed to prove it now? Spend too many of my minutes getting higher. And then it mentioned something about suicide attempts and that you're committed. Like she tried to change. She's committed again, but she's only committed to the people that she loves. And being committed to somebody you love versus being committed to your own self-love is like the parallel she puts into that lyric, and it runs on from attempting self-love, equating it to be just crying forever because self-love is a hard thing to achieve. Yeah.
Self-love is a very not touchy topic. Well, it is a touchy topic, but a tricky topic.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially if you're trans and like neurodivergent and all the good jazz, it's hard to love yourself when the standard is just like white, cis, and straight. And that's what's considered normal in society with like gigantic air quotes. Because that's just what's thrown at you, and then if you deviate away from that quote unquote normal, like you're not seen as normal. So then everything, the self-hatred comes in, and it's all
Mental illness. It's mental illness, isn't it? I
Nope.
can't. Delving away from Pills of Good Advice, I want to talk about Transgender Street Legend Volume 2. There was a number 1, but I want to talk about number 2 because sequels generally better or worse.
It depends.
Because sequels are usually better.
Well, either way, I like Transgender Street Legend Volume 2.
Mm-hmm.
I like 1 too, but I like 2.
Yep.
I like all your songs, Nat. I know you're watching.
We know you're there. Anyway, there are 4 songs I want to touch on from that. I don't know if I can't remember if there's only 4 songs or if this is just ones I picked out. 6 Feet, Do You See Us, Safety First, and T-Shirt.
Yes.
T-Shirt, fun fact, was written pre-transition while Nat was still in high school, which I think is a fun little fact. I definitely have some stuff from like pre-transition where I'm just like, what the hell is going on here? But like it just, I guess, a different time in my life. It's just weird to look back and think about like that I was like a completely different person back then.
I don't remember most of pre-transition me.
Yeah. Well, lucky you. Okay.
I don't know if they call that luck.
That is fair. She refers to this album as exclusively bedroom pop because all but one song was recorded in her bedroom, like literally, except for 6 Feet. 6 Feet was written or performed in some other studio somewhere else. I don't remember where. It was in collaboration with some other guy. But the second song, Do You See Us, was written as a call out to Seattle's mayor, actually. Nat holds the mayor of Seattle responsible for like condoning police violence to the historically gay community in Seattle, like neighborhood, because they were gassed on the first day of Pride Month, and he allowed that behavior and condoned that behavior, and that whole song was just like a massive call out to him about that.
Yep.
Why'd you do that, Seattle mayor? I forgot his name.
Honestly, if he did that, like it's not even important to know his name.
Well, no, because I passed him on the street. I hate that.
For those listening, audio only, Nylon flexed at the camera.
I did not. I threw my fists up. I'm not gonna punch the microphone.
I want to talk about kudzu because I have been thinking about kudzu on the way here to the studio.
Allergies. Hold on.
Oh my god.
I
Are you
am better.
good?
Yes.
Okay. So the cool thing about the title Kudzu is that Nat Puff's girlfriend had a dream that the album was called Kudzu. So I just think that's really fun.
Little plant fact: kudzu is a group of like really quickly growing vines. It's also an invasive species in the U.S. So like, it grew way too fast, and we can't get rid of it.
Yeah. Nat had stated that she feels like an invasive species, so it was very fitting. And it's also worth noted that she became famous on Vine. So, I mean, everyone just talks to
Maybe.
her about Vine, and it's a tiring topic. But like, it might it might be a bit of a reach, but Vines and Vine.
I know. I think that's a reach. I think
I
it's just
know.
coincidence.
I think it's funny though.
Mm.
But Kutsu with the lyrics, so I'm gonna read some out. Now I've been in therapy half my life. I feel the same. I feel insane daily, and I would do whatever just to get me through. And it doesn't really work like that, but it helps. If you wanted dishonesty, you better see someone else. Believe me, I get it too. I've been struggling too. Not the greatest way to heal, but it's something to do until. And again, going back to the trash fire that is the American mental health system. A lot of people do because in America there's only like one type of therapy usually, and that's talk therapy. Unless you can gain access to other kinds, which is not. It's hit or miss depending on the city you live in. A lot of people do go to therapy and they just don't. It's not helping. They just feel like they've hit a plateau, like nothing's changing. Even if they try all these medications, nothing's working. Which, yeah, in the lyrics, I feel insane daily. Like,
I feel like this is also towards because like if you wanted dishonesty, you'd better see someone else. Because believe me, I've been struggling too. It's not the greatest way to heal, but it's something to do until. I feel like that's one of the point where you get to the point where nothing really matters. So you're as brutally honest as you want to be because it's easier to do than constantly lying. Um, and if you're going to be brutally honest to somebody who's also suffering, that's not the way to go about it. That's why when people are like dealing with like severe like mental health issues, generally you don't want to surround them with other people with, like severe mental health issues or going through it or like episodes or like that because like it just feeds off of one another and like makes the situation worse.
yeah. And also, Katsu, like, I feel the lyrics also speaking on, like, the mental health battle and substance abuse. Because a lot of people, when, again, therapy doesn't work, they turn to substances, whether that's alcohol, drugs, whatever, so they can just feel better and feel like not feel the pain that they're going through, and just survive through the day. It becomes like a reliance because like if therapy's not working and the substances that you're using are making you feel better, then you're gonna use the substances because it makes you feel better, and that leads to addiction.
I think what it was is Nat is specifically referring to like I don't know weed I guess because she was talking about it in what was it Pills and Good Advice where she kept getting higher and higher but like it really wasn't doing anything. It was just making like spending her time.
Was it Pills and Good Advice, the lyric that was like I've been sober for 3 days and I'm over it or something like that?
That may be the one. Yeah.
I can't remember the lyric off the top of my head, but there's a lyric somewhere in the album. I'm pretty sure it's Pills and Good Advice, but I could be wrong. I'm sorry, Nat. Where she has stated, "I sober 3 days and over it," something along those lines. And again, substance abuse, like it's hard to break out of that cycle.
Yeah, I also briefly want to go over this is a protest for your heart with 3 exclamation points. Really get that point through.
1, 2, 3.
One of the like I just want to touch on it opens up with like it not doesn't necessarily opens up with but like it's like a I think it's the chorus. It's wishbones don't break for me. If I get it, I'll believe it was meant to be. Wishbones don't break for me. If I get it, I believe it was destiny. It really feels like it's one of the things where nothing lucky can happen to me. I'm the most unlucky person alive. And if it happens, it was already going to happen regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, if you don't know, I mean, you probably do, but if you don't, wishbones are a sign of luck. And what happens is like you get a wishbone like on Thanksgiving, turkey, or like whatever. You grab it with another person and you pull. and whoever has the bigger piece makes the wish, and it's supposed to come true.
Mhm.
So wishbones don't break for me. Like, you're not getting that lucky big piece. You're just, yeah.
Yeah. I also feel like this was specifically about like, I'm unlucky. If it was gonna happen, it was gonna happen regardless. There's a line in the song that refers to, I just want to see myself on stage. It's a stretch or whatever. Some like it's like a reach. Like, it's never gonna happen, but that's something that I want, right? I feel like it's a little bit about that, where it's like, I want to be famous like that, but like, that's like it's a throwaway dream. Like, it's like you wish it up and you throw it away because it's not gonna happen. One of those things.
Yes.
And that comes, yeah, that lyric kind of comes after this one, where it's, how are you going to shine like that? And then, as if like if I'm like Nat going through, it's like, how are you going to shine like that and be so bright? Like, how, like, why would you take all the spotlight like that? But then again, asking herself, why do you got to be so dim? Along those lines of like jealousy almost.
Right.
And it's stated again in, how are you going to live like that? And then, how are you going to live yourself? Uncertainty, like jealousy, all this other stuff packed into one, and then it brings into like I want to see myself on stage, but it's not gonna happen.
Yeah. So the next lyrics that we have are, I don't want to live, that's fine, because the years will still go by. I don't want to miss them. I don't want to miss them. I don't want to miss them. Not this time. So, like, again, this speaks again to like mental health topics and suicidal ideation, but also the pull to like, want to live and feel alive, because you don't want to feel like garbage. Like, I know personally, me, when I struggled heavily with suicidal ideation, it's constantly like the push and pull of like, oh, I want to die, but like, not really. I just don't want to live in this moment, versus like, oh, I want to live, but like, also that's overwhelming. Like, let me just stay in limbo. Like, when people go, sleep is like microdosing death.
No, I hate that. Anyway, stay alive out of spite. Literally, stay alive to defeat your enemies, because that's my advice. You don't want your enemies to outlive you.
Listen,
that's what I gotta say.
one of my friends has a grandma who lived out of spite. Like, that was her, like, she constantly said it, and I think she just turned like 102. So there's got to be something to that.
It works. And I know, just before that, like the line you mentioned earlier, like, I don't want to live, that's fine. She draws like the two options, where it's self-harm, or like straight up just fighting people and being aggressive and like getting all the energy out on other people instead of yourself. And then it goes, either way you'll die, basically. And then it goes into like, but I don't want to live, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Right, also,
Yeah, let me lean back. You sit up
Yeah.
taller.
Okay. And then again, like the last part of the song, it's, I'm still alive, repeated like 15, 20 times. And then it has a little snippet at the end of the end of the song. That
You're
goes
not
like,
running a
oh,
marathon.
I lived.
You're doing a podcast.
Ah, okay, that's it. Goodbye.
So I love this little snippet at the end, because it's from the end of a voicemail that Nat sent to her partner after almost getting into a car crash. So that's the context for that line, where it's like, I lived big.
Literally. But yeah, we're gonna go talk to Nat now. If you want, you can go and follow us into the interview, I guess. Also follow us on social media. Okay, well, we're gonna go into Nat's interview now. You can go ahead and follow us there. Also follow us on social media.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. You started making music in 5th grade, right?
Oh yeah, I did. How did you know that? And I forgot.
Your Wikipedia page.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah, 5th grade. That's a super long time.
Yeah.
But was there anything specific that like sparked your songwriting?
Girls.
That's
Like literally, like my first like 3-4 songs were all about girls that I liked at the time.
that's
I've stayed true to my lesbianism since I was a kid. I just had like, oh god, the first song I ever wrote sucked. It was about this girl named Claire, who I don't talk to anymore. But like, um, it was like this like Aerosmith type beat.
oh
Like,
my god.
yeah, I used to be a completely different person musically. But like, I change my sound like every 5 minutes. But like, I literally like, so the context behind this is, I wanted to make music because that I had like, I was like a pretentious, like, I was a pretentious tween.
Oh no.
Like, I like played Guitar Hero And like that by itself is not bad. Like I was really good at it. Like I was like on expert mode at like age 12 or something like that. And like because I loved rhythm-based games, I was also really good at DDR, which sounds fake. It sounds so fake when I say like, yeah, I was really, really good at DDR and Guitar Hero, but I don't have any evidence of it. But like it sounds so fake whenever I say that. But yeah, so I was like, wait, hold on. Let me rewind a little bit. Okay, so I was playing Guitar Hero and I was like, yo, these songs are really good. And I was like looking into all these classic rock bands, and I ended up being like this pretentious, like this pretentious little guy. Like, yeah, like literally to give you an idea of the type of person that I was at that time, my Xbox 360 gamer avatar had a fedora, and like my like slogan on my like account was good music equals old music. I hate people talk about like, you know, taking care of your inner child. I want to bully my inner child.
Oh my god.
I want to steal my inner child's lunch money. Like, not gonna lie, my
Oh my
inner child's
god. That's just like the whole like milady aesthetic.
yeah, I mean, I had like this like Les Paul as like part of the avatar too. It was bad. It was bad.
You were hardcore into it.
I was hardcore into it as a kid, you know, buying all the greatest hit CDs of all
Oh
the
my
greats.
god.
Yeah. But this was eventually the thing that led me to like collect vinyl, because I was like, well, if good music equals old music, I better listen to this old music the way that it was intended to.
Oh
And,
my god.
and then I ended up getting really into vinyl. Like even like to this day, I still am like, you know, a vinyl fiend. I have like a huge collection behind this screen right now. That's just like most of the records I got for free from like my relatives being like, yo, you collect records. I don't need any of this anymore. Take it.
Yes.
And you know, and like so I I had all these old vinyls, and like one thing that I did as like a kid, no, I was like mid-teens.
Mhm.
There was one summer where as a gift, my dad, I think, got me this like this thing called an iMic, and it's essentially like a USB thing where it has a headphone jack in and a headphone jack
Oh,
output.
okay.
And this means that if you connect your if you have like the right setup, you can connect your record player to your computer. So I was just like recording all these like used records that I got over the years. I started working volunteer shifts at this record store that I was living close by to. It was like the only record store in the area that wasn't like more than like 30 minutes away. So what I did was I was like recording all of these records onto my computer, and like I would try to sample them and like, you know, make them into beats. And that's kind of like how I like got into beat making, production, et cetera, et cetera. Like, do you guys know the song DANCE by Justice?
Yes,
Um,
it sounds so familiar.
yeah, so it's like DANCE.
Oh yeah,
Five. So there's the bridge section, which is like under the spotlight, neither black no white. There's that section.
yeah.
Swizz Beats. I'm pretty sure he's the guy that produced this one. But it's just a line under the and then it cuts off at spot, like midway through spot, and he just repeats it. So it's just like under the spot under. So when Jay-Z raps over it, he's like he says like on to the next one, on to the next one. So like that way, like the line under the is like recontextualized to be on to the next one. And that blew my mind when I realized that was the sample. I was like so shocked. I had to recover for like 3 days.
Do you think that sampling was like almost the springboard of you doing like parodies and stuff of music?
I'd say that if there was anything that like got me to, because even though I only made like 4 of them, the like how to make a blank song like skyrocketed my like streams to like a point that I never thought that they would get, at least not then. I think the thing that like caused me to be good at that sort of like mockery imitation whatever you call it. I do it in jest, but I do it out of respect to, or at least I try to. I think the thing that really like did it for me in terms of like that mockery is probably just like my ability to like observe. I don't feel like any particular musical skill because I wasn't that good at producing at that point. Like I think a lot of it was just like I was trying to produce for a different artist instead of myself. And it ended up working. And like, you know, I'm like good at impressions, like vocally, like I can do a pretty mean Kermit. But I think that it kind of translated into like my production techniques because like a lot of it is just observation and like focus.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
So you were at an artist residency this year, right? For writing your
Yes.
studio debut album. Do you
Yeah.
want to talk a bit about that?
No, I'm kidding. I will. But I so essentially what happened was I was working on You Were Not Alone Enough and just being like frustrated because like I didn't want to remake some of these songs because I have to I say have to in the present tense because I still gotta fucking do it. But
Yeah.
he'll bleep that out, I know. But but I essentially I was like working on these songs a long time ago. My production has gotten way better since. I re-listened to them. I was like, these are still fine. I guess they're still releasable. And then like I kind of remembered that like I shouldn't just like settle in my art, like not in a perfectionist way, but more so just like a clean yourself up type of way.
Right.
I say that as I'm wearing basketball shorts right now, but like um I was working on those songs a little frustratedly. And then I was like, I'm going to try to make new songs. And then I made Transgender Street Legend Volume 2. And then I made most of Transgender Street Legend Volume 3, which is pretty much finished. I just haven't released it because I need a couple things done to it.
Right.
And then so after that, I started working on these other songs. I worked on a beat for somebody else, a couple beats for some other people, and like, you know, I was like just starting to get in the groove of production. And then I moved, and then when I moved, I was like, well, I need something to like really occupy me. I really need a project to occupy me. So I started working on Pills and Good Advice. I knew I wanted to make a 10-minute long song, and I had the Pills and Good Advice intro, and I had the Pills and Good Advice intro, and then I had the Pills and Good Advice like second half where it's like the like
Yeah.
that whole section. I had that pretty much done instrumentally, and I hadn't combined them. I hadn't thought of combining them until like I was like, okay, I make a 10-minute song, and most of it was Frankenstein bits of just like works in progresses that I really didn't finish or didn't want to finish, not because I didn't like them, but because I didn't know what to do with them.
Right.
And having it come together in that way was like really mind blowing for me because I was like, oh, I can just use old ideas. Like it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine, turns out. So I finished Pills and Good Advice. And then around the same time, I was like, all right, I'm not getting enough money from music. I'm gonna look for jobs. And for some reason, the first place that I looked for jobs was on Facebook.
No.
And I saw a very I saw a very strange ad for the residency that I ended up going to. And I say strange because that like it like takes you through this whole survey. And then at the bottom in the comments, not in the post itself, but in the comments, which I didn't realize until the second time that I saw the listing, it says you can apply here, and then it points you to a completely different web page. And so I was like, all right, guess I'm applying there instead. So I do the same thing but on a different web page. And like keep in mind that it's not like a resume versus a cover letter. At least when you get both in a different job context, you feel like you're at least giving them what they want. They didn't even need the first like attempt of a resume that I did. Like they didn't need it. Like I'm not even sure if they saw it. But either way, I sent them Pills and Good Advice, another unreleased song it was unreleased at the time, but the second song is also still unreleased. And then no, I showed them 2 volume 3 tracks and 1 You Were Not Alone Enough track, and Pills and Good Advice. And I was supposedly, according to David, the guy who ran the program, I'm pretty sure he was like, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to tell you this. So I'm just gonna share it with the world right now. But he said that I was like the highest rated artist that I think it was definitely the highest rated artist that he saw that year. I'm not sure, but he also could have said like that he's ever seen, which was like great, because they're like, Pills and Good Advice, I like made that the first one for a reason, because I wanted to blow people away. Like I'm aware of the power that song has. And like he was like, yeah, you got the residency. And we had discussed like essentially like when I would do the residency, there was there were 4 residency slots open, and the one that I was originally going to take was in December, so you wouldn't have had an album until next year, hypothetically, if I took that. But instead I was like, actually, no, I got too many ideas and I want to get them out now. Let's do June. And so he's like, all right, I'll contact the other person, make sure that they can swap. And if they can swap, then we'll swap. And we swapped. So from then on, I was just like working on like demos at home, waiting for the residency to start. I created like a little piece of Out of My Mind. I created a little piece of It Could Be Better, which was already written lyrically and vocally like before. Same with Out of Mary and Zion Check. Both of those were written prior. And then like when I went to the residency, I just finished up all those songs. I also had the first half of This Is a Protest, but not the latter half where the beat actually comes in. So I worked on that with Fixel when I was at the residency. So most of it was made at the residency, but a lot of it was preparation. Like a lot of it was preparation.
Yeah.
Because that like, how the hell are you going to make an album in like 2 months when you're just one person?
Yeah.
So I had to bring in help, and I also had to bring in like old ideas, because that like I've learned from Pills and Good Advice that like it works.
Yeah.
So that's essentially what I was doing that whole time I was at the residency. And I was like, the only 2 songs that I made completely from scratch at the residency that had no like former ideas from like other things were well, There's a Place for You Here had like some like vocal melody ideas that were like carried over.
Yes.
But like the rest of the song was like completely made from scratch there. And the same with Kudzu, because I didn't even conceptualize that song until like 2 months into the residency, or like 1.5 months into the residency. Like literally I woke up and my girlfriend had a dream where like they had seen this album called Kudzu, and I was like, well, I know what I gotta do. And the original, like there was a slight lyric change in Kudzu that completely changed the perspective and theme of the song. I only had the first half, like the part in like the waltz feel before like Willie Crook's sample comes in. The last line in that section was I swear I'll be gone after that till I come crawling back to you next, as opposed to the other way around. And the reason why that existed was because I was like, kudzu, okay, so it's like a invasive plant species, and like like I feel like an invasive plant species sometimes, so I'll make it like this. Like I was like trying to make this song, I was like in the perspective of like BPD selfishness, sort of like trying to like personify that feeling as like a villain a little bit. And then I was at the same time I was smoking a lot, like a lot. And I was like, no, I gotta write about this instead. So I just switched the perspective, made kudzu to be a less subtle metaphor about marijuana itself, and just like how you can just like attach yourself to that. And it's like I was sober that entire month that song was written. I was sober the entire last month that I was prepping for the album's release. Like I released and I was like, oh god, I need to smoke again. So I just like went back, but like it's I'm trying to keep it under control this time, as opposed to what was happening before, which was like I was smoking like 2-3 times a day and just like a metric ton. But that whole song was like this like exploration on that sort of feeling. And like like my favorite part of the song, probably my favorite part of the album, is that whole like second verse of the second half, where it's like, my friends are addicts, some are still, but some got sober, and I want to say I'm jealous, but it's been 3 days without, and now I'm over it. It was literally 3 days after I'd quit smoking. And I liked contrasting that with the last line of that verse, which is, I was so sure that I'd be cured as I got older, but it's been 300 years and I still feel bitter, scared, and inconsiderate. And the 300 years contrasted with the 3 days just was like, I'm literally the best.
Yeah.
I'm literally a god. But like, but like, no, I was just like really happy with the way that particular verse came out. I was really, really happy with it. Really, really
Where can we find you? Just so it's like on video, like where would you like people to direct you? Like your Twitter or your Instagram? Like
I'm at Left at London on pretty much everything. Twitter, Insta, TikTok, Facebook, even. Like even Tumblr, I think. I don't.
Oh my god!
I still have like a Left at London Tumblr account, and I don't use it, but I feel like, you know, you gotta have a couple socials that you just like took the username of and nothing else. So you can find me there. You can also go to leftatlondon.com/TIAPFYH, or you can just go to leftatlondon.com and find all my stuff. You can check out my Patreon. Give me money. I need money. I've been trying to, like, you know, promote my Patreon a lot more lately, but at the same time I want to keep a lot of stuff hidden. But $1 will get you a lot of unreleased stuff, and like regardless. So like,
it's worth checking out. Yeah,
it's worth checking out, folks. I actually put one of the tracks I intend on putting on that third album that I described on Patreon, just because I was like, I need to release this, but I can't release it officially. Whatever. And I feel like that's gonna be like what I do a lot of the time for the next few months.
Cool.
So yeah, Patreon, website, social, other words, yeah.
Is it green or where you are now? Do you need it to be green?
The title kudzu was the creation of well, not the creation of Nat Puff's girlfriend.